medical devices and medical application and pharmaceuticals, those are very heavy, like legal guarded areas that needs to be really very well built, let's say, very insured. So what are the challenges, what are the considerations of building those kind of things in general and in particular with React Native?
So in healthcare and where I like work and it's part of my passion, I think there is an important piece about the risk. So what happens if something fails? What's the implication? And we spend all day measuring this. What's the impact of a bug, or we call it even a defect? So what's this impact? So can we harm someone? So that's kind of the risk. So if you make a mistake in another application into the gaming, and I mean you are playing and it doesn't save, I mean, yeah, it's very disappointing, but nothing happens. So maybe you crash your controller to the window. That could be. In healthcare, what you are doing, it can really impact lives for positive or negative. You need to make sure and really test things will be working the way that you designed to be working. And all the day we spend like, I want to do this. Is this functionality acting as I expect? And then the challenge is as I expect in all the devices, operating systems, places, in all edge cases. So that's kind of how React and we really focus on like how to make sure this is kind of always giving the same result.
Okay. So are you saying that, like, in general, there is a large emphasis on testing then?
Testing, assuring to, I mean, there is always fixes to do. And like you have multiple releases, and I think that's also why we invented the semantic release, because like if you put the 3.1.1, it feels like, oh, it's just a minor fix. But at the end, they are always like doing those fixes. So there is a big emphasis on test automation. There is a big emphasis on like it's not just a pull request. You really read the code and make sure that things are going. When we make a package and we upgrade the package, we really look into it and what is this person going through. And that also reminds me an importance of open sourcing. And I can go through this new release and go through the changes that this person has done into the library, exactly the lines that has added, and evaluate if this will add value to me or maybe will break. So internally, we are always thinking on like, it's not just package update. You go into the package, which is the version, how this will play with the other ones, and then depending on the update, you need to do different type of testings and automate. On our case, it's even more challenging because we have a device, so we have a physical thing. I have it here. So you have a physical thing. So each PLE has a different flavor. Each NFC has a different one. Each phone, they say things and they do others. And I'm not blaming manufacturers, but this is life. I mean, now there is a new iOS version coming. We don't know what will happen. So all these pieces you need to play into tons of libraries that you use, because nowadays maybe you use like you import 300 libraries, 400, doesn't matter. Like there is hundreds of libraries that you need to check, plus the code that you test. You need to automate all these pieces, and React really helps. And it's not just not breaking; it's also performance. If you are like using the app and it takes like 20 seconds to open, it's disappointing. I mean,
yeah,
not to say other things.
But then what we understand is healthcare, when you look at performance, also that the users here, like because app, it's really about the healthcare. So I guess they also, the difference if it's opens really like 20 seconds on 19, it's not so important that, for example, in different businesses, as for example, we work with betting companies where they're like every second really counts for their business. And how I understand with healthcare, of course, performance is important because it is for everyone nowadays when you want to smoothly open your app. But would that be right to say that then, because it's about your half, you can wait a bit longer to get the right results. And for users, what is also very important to know that the data is secured and that they will get the right results.
So I would say, like, in React nowadays, and if you do the things correctly, performance, it's enough for any application. We are not talking about like milliseconds or like things that not even the eye can perceive. That's clear. Like if you are like developing a class 3 medical device that has like something that it's a nanosecond that will impact your heartbeat, then in this case, you will not develop in React, and you will like do on C, or maybe you will do an assembler, because you're like just getting into that side. But in most of the cases with React Native, you get the right performance and you don't even perceive. And everyone needs to understand like their use case, and that's definitely the case. But for us, we are streaming data real time. I mean, not real time, but like mostly real time. And with React, we get the right flow, and we spend obviously a lot of time because it's a lot of data, and you need to make sure that the app is not clunky and you just don't see your graph like going this way slow. But it's really good. I mean, we don't see a difference between native and non-native, even like the volumes of data. And we have some, and the good thing of React also, if there are things that are not performing as you expected, you build your native component on it and you're good to go. And it's not enough in native, you can do it in C.
Yeah, I think it's very important what you tackled here, that React Native really allows you a great performance of the app. And what we sometimes observe, that there are big companies, enterprises coming to us with performance issues. But when we really dig deeper, we find out that it's actually a setup issue. Because when they were making a decision regarding technology, they sometimes didn't go fully within React Native, but invested in a hybrid setup, brownfield approach. And because of the complexity, there are the performance issues that then, when they're thinking what to do with them, as you mentioned, they try native screens, and it's really, really complex app. That brings us back to the topic of really then complexity for developers and very long building time. So I think that nicely really connects everything that we discussed today here together.
On the topic still of medical applications of technology, how important it is for you to pick the right technology that is mature? How would you rate the React Native maturity in terms of like medical applications on like other applications as well?
That's a really good question. So now React Native, it's kind of trending. Everyone knows. So I would say it's easy. I remember on 2017, I was like, "Oh, let's move into React Native," and people like, but it's only a 5 years technology. Are you crazy? Like, what is React Native? Like, they don't have like 10 years. Where you will find, like, the big question normally is where you will find 10 years of experience of React Native. And I said, there is no one.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 years. I mean, maximum you have like 5 years, and then it's kind of the founder kind of a thing. And nowadays, it's, as a lot of companies are using it, it's easy to choose. But normally for me, when I choose one new technology, and so the reality is that there will be other technologies, and we all know that. Like, React is one thing now. It's one of the things that it's kind of straightforward to use it. New things are coming. It may surpass, or they may die. Like, it's kind of the rule, as always. You need to choose, like, normally look into what are the products that are building, how it's supported from a community. So if it's one single person, I will not take the risk. I will take it for my personal website. That's definitely the case.
Yeah.
But for a big company, I will not take the risk. And then see a bit the projection. I always embrace, like, play around with it. So don't jump into a like 1 year project or 2 years project without really prototyping, and ask your developers how you feel like going through it. So you do one prototype, you talk to the community, go to a few conferences. Now that you can do, YouTube is amazing. They're like, you can learn anything. So chat there, get some performance, compare. Now you even like maybe now not, but maybe in a year you can ask ChatGPT how to get one versus the other one, and you will get a nice report. So get your research, and it needs to fit your problems. And I think that's where, like, here we were talking about like what you want to accomplish, what are the tools that you want to make it happen, and then you're old, 5 years old, or like it's 20 years old, out the tool. I mean, evil. And if I have no, that's serious. Like they are like super modern knives, and all these. Are you using those, or like you are using the traditional knife?
Yeah, I'm using my favorite knife. I have like probably 2 different knives that I use for all of the things.
But they are like hundreds of different type of shapes.
Yes.
And
yeah,
you may decide, no, I only cook with 2 or I cook with 20. And in the technology is the same. Make your own research and decide. And it's what I do. Like I always test new things. I spend a lot of time testing in new stuff. I fly a lot, and for example, I downloaded Rust and I played through the plane on Rust in one way, and then I said, oh, that's interesting or interesting or like whatever, and you do those prototypes, and that's the important piece of like these things. Whatever like people are saying on YouTube about, oh, this is the best technology, you need to move to this new one. They don't have your problem. Like you need to see what's your problem, how it's solving. Hopefully what we've been discussing today helps you like get into a better kind of thinking on like, oh, it looks like, oh, we have the similar problem, maybe it will help me. Or maybe it's like, oh, I don't have this problem, I have another one and I want like a pixel perfect. Maybe React is not the thing for you. It's just problem first, what you want to solve, and then see how you solve it.